All right, here we are, day 3. Welcome. So, looking at the Buddha nature within in the final part of this 3-part series. And today we're going to be seeing how this can work in our daily life. How can we make opportunity of recognizing our Buddha nature in everything that we do? And how can we look at, without creating any more of these karmic imprints within our life. So the reason that we have got these defilements within the mind is that we react, and we react in 3 different ways. So the first way that we react is like a line in water. So very quickly we might react in a very subtle way that it just removes itself instantly. And then the second reaction that we have is like a reaction where it's a little bit more serious. It's a line in the sand. So this line for some time will stay overnight, maybe a couple nights, maybe even just a few hours, but it will be eventually removed. And the third reaction that we have is a bigger reaction. So this reaction maybe once in a few months, twice in a year. But you can look back and be like, all right, when did I really have a strong reaction to something? And you'll trigger, you'll be like, oh, at that point. And that reaction will set off a whole volcano of things within that is come to the surface. And this is like a line in the rock. And this line in the rock, it takes years, if not lifetimes, to be able to remove. So it's much more serious, and it's the reason these stronger reactions, and we call them samskaras. These samskaras are the reason that we come to birth and rebirth. So this cycle of rebirth is called samsara. So through the samskaras, we experience this cycle of samsara until that moment comes where we remove all of those impurities, we remove all of those reactions. We can begin to not react anymore and let all of those previous reactions come to the surface, and naturally they remove themselves, they dissipate. So it's just bringing our awareness to a point where we aren't reacting anymore, where we aren't creating any more fear, any more anxiety, any more hatred, any more craving, any more doubt, any more laziness. And through seeing that we aren't reacting to any of these things or feeding ourselves into any of these things anymore, all of the stock of the old habit patterns of the mind will come to the surface. So you might have already begun to notice this, that when you're meditating or when you're experiencing these moments of watching the thoughts, these moments of sitting in emptiness, you'll notice that it'll either be pleasurable or unpleasurable. And then with the way we react to that is the same way that we react to a sensation moving in life, either eating a chocolate cake or being told off by somebody, or telling someone off yourself. So the same way that we react in meditation is the same way that we react in life. So meditation is like the training ground for life, for moving through life consciously. And what we're going to see and ask ourselves today is, who am I in all of this? So what is left? If there's no ego, there's no self, there's no identification with either good things or bad things. It might seem like what's the point? Where is this all going? But this is the essential ingredient of becoming one with the universe, or surrendering yourself to the flow of life, rather than trying to create experiences and hold on to them and have expectations of, if I don't meditate the same way that I did last time, where I was able to sit for 1 or 2 minutes without thinking, and this time I sit down and my thoughts are just absolutely wild, and we compare ourselves to that previous experience. If not, we compare ourselves to other people, and we can see that this just creates so much pressure to be more than what we need to be. And we're already perfect. There's nothing missing. Everything's already here. It's just temporarily we forget that. And through seeing that all of this is really just a justification of our experience to the outside world, to these sensations within the body, and these things which are transient, which are ephemeral in their nature, can we see that we exist beyond all of that? So a good metaphor for this session is what defines a room. So a room is the space, but for temporary amounts of time, there's the four walls, there's the floor, and then there's the ceiling. So the room itself is not the wall, and it's definitely not the floor, and it's most certainly not the roof. So it is, for a brief moment, the space between all of that conditioned boundaries. And the same way within the body is that consciousness or spaciousness or openness and clarity for a particular amount of time is confined to the framework of the body, this house that we have for consciousness, for awareness. And when we look at the way that the body and the mind work together, is it's in such close proximity that it's so subtle, the difference between knowing that we're looking at something and seeing that we are just watching something, or witnessing through our eyes the opportunities to just see without identifying. So the senses within the body have their own consciousness. So each time that a certain sense comes in, or a certain frequency comes in, there's a landing point. So there's a landing point where we recognize there's a cognition, so there's something we're looking at or something we hear, and it comes in. So we cognize that moment, and then we recognize that moment. And then when we recognize that moment, a previous experience similar to that will begin to identify what it is that we're recognizing, putting it into a framework, into a box. And then that framework and box, once it's kind of given its own identity, then we react to it out of either this is a nice sound, this is a pleasurable sound, or this is a uncomfortable sound, this is a sound which brings discomfort to me. And then that reaction, it creates a sensation within the body. And this sensation within the body is what we begin to feel before we can even let ourselves understand what it is that we're perceiving. So it's that it happens so quickly and so fast and so subtly that it's very easy to miss. And this is why meditating and looking at our sensations and looking at our conditioning between the body and the mind is a wonderful opportunity to begin to slow things down and to see them as they are, to witness the absolute truth of this. So whilst you're meditating for this final part, this final chapter, what we're going to do is we're going to begin to observe the sensations within the body. We're going to begin to observe the senses within the body, but not let them make any contact with our conscious awareness. We're just going to objectively witness them without reacting to them. So we can go through the five senses. We can go through starting with the eyes. And as your eyes are closed, you can look into that dark space, look into the back of the eyes and see that what you're looking into you're just witnessing the eyes seeing. There's no identification with what you're looking at, and there's no reason for you to judge or to have a reaction to what you're looking at. And then what we're going to look at next is going to the ears. So go to the ears and notice yourself hearing. So cast your awareness out and just let yourself listen. Feel the vibrations come into your ears. Feel them come into your mind. Feel them, observe the frequencies of sound without reacting or identifying any of the sounds. So just hear the birds whistling as the bird's whistling. Hear the dog barking as the dog barking. Hear the rustling in the background as the rustling in the background. Without reacting, without giving in to the sensation which may be arising from you listening to that. And then the tongue tasting. So you're tasting what you're experiencing in this moment. You're present with what's going on, and you're just observing objectively. And then your nose is smelling. So someone might be making dinner, making a coffee, making this, making that. And a lot of the time, the nose triggers memory, triggers sensations within the body, triggers a reaction, triggers a craving, or triggers an aversion. So can you smell without any of those reactions, without any of those senses of smelling coming in and creating contact with your mind to have a reaction? And this reaction of craving or aversion is removed just by bringing awareness into it and allowing it to be as it is without the need of trying to change it or altering it. And then we begin to go through the body. So we go to the skin. We go to the level of the skin, the level of feeling, the level of touch. So go from the top of the head, and as you would, follow all the way down the face, go past the ears, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the jaw, all the way down the neck, the shoulders, and then starting with one shoulder and then make your way down the arm, making your way down the arm, making your way down the arm, all the way down into the hand, into the fingertips. And then coming to the other shoulder, and then starting from the top of the shoulder, making your way down the arm, past the elbow, all the way down the arm, all the way down into the hand, and then into the fingers. And then you come to the neck and the back of the neck, and you come to the chest and the back, come to the torso, all the way down into towards the pelvis. And then you begin to choose one leg, and you start at one leg, and you move your awareness down the thigh, down the leg, all the way down to the feet, down to the toes. And then go to the other leg, starting at the top of the thigh, and then moving your way down, past the knee, all the way down towards the ankle, all the way down towards the feet, all the way down towards the toes. And then once you reach the toes and you've gone from head to feet, again, start from the top of the head, and then make your way down individually, separately, dissecting each individual part and observing it objectively. And you'll notice that you'll begin to observe either pleasurable or unpleasurable sensations within the body, and see if you can just witness them without ego, witness them without self, objectively witness them, like purely just watching clouds in the sky, without any reaction to them. It's just watching them as they are in their pure nature. And in the same way that a discomfort within the body, you'll sit for a period of time, the leg will go numb, or you'll feel like an agitation or an itch or a scratch, or you want to move, or this sensation is very difficult to sit with for a period of time. Can you be with that? Can you be with that without reacting? And through continued effort, keeping the mind pure, keeping the mind equanimous whilst you're moving your attention from head to feet, can you begin to see that this is the pathway of purification, of disidentifying yourself with the framework of the body and the framework of the senses? And then we're left with, I am not this thought. I am not this mind which is chitter-chattering. And then all that is left is the I. And then if we stay with that and remove that, then we're just left as this, we are the universe. Dissolve into that oneness.